Last year, Peugeot introduced the successor to the 207, which is called the 208. Despite the general trend to make cars bigger, Peugeot made the 208 smaller than its predecessor, although on the inside it is slightly more spacious. Smaller external dimensions and the choice of light materials also make the car lighter, which is supposed to be good for driving characteristics and fuel consumption. And this should be particularly interesting in case of the GTI. Since the famous 205 GTI, Peugeot was reluctant to use the badge on 206 and 207. The hot hatch variants of these cars were better known as RC models. But now Peugeot claims GTI is back. Is it? I've been driving the Peugeot 208 GTI for the last couple of days, and I wondered what makes a good hot hatch. You may have heard me raving about how good the Ford Fiesta is, but I wouldn't buy it because the suspension is so harsh I fear the fillings would fall out of my teeth. This is not a problem with the Peugeot 208 GTI. The suspension is stiff but slightly more comfortable than in the Fiesta, making this an everyday car. It's brilliant. I can go about my business and forget about the 200 horsepower under the bonnet until... oh yeah. Now, the Peugeot 208 GTI is fast. Well, it feels fast, even if on paper it's just a tenth of a second quicker in 0 to 100 than the Fiesta ST. That's still properly fast. It's also 80 kilograms heavier than the Fiesta, but the French engineers have done some pretty good work, and as far as I can stretch my balls, I didn't find any understeer. I would like the steering to be a bit more direct though. In tighter corners, I have to turn the steering wheel a bit too much for my liking, and it spoils some of the fun. However, I do realize this car will spend more time in the city than on the track, and it's more about comfort. It's the same thing with the seats, by the way, which I would just love to be an inch lower, but that wouldn't be comfortable in everyday use.
In the end, this is a city car. Fast, but for the trendy city types. It has a touchscreen, sat-nav, extra USB ports, panoramic sunroof with ambient lighting in the rails, dual climate zone control, JBL sound system, parking sensors, and if you don't trust the parking sensors, you can tell the car to park itself. Price, 23,000 euros, plus options I just mentioned. The interior feels upmarket. You can park the car in front of the trendiest nightclub in town and it will feel at home. You can also take your friends there because 2 adults will fit in the back. And in the boot there is space for a couple of crates of wine if you choose to take the party elsewhere. What more do you need?
I wanted to conclude here and tell you that the 208 GTI is a brilliant everyday hot hatch. However, there are 3 things you may want to consider. First of all is the sound, or rather lack of it. I don't like my car to be loud on an everyday basis, but every once in a while I would like to have this kind of sports button like in the Mini that I could push and I could hear some engine, I could make some noise. I know it's very boy racer-like, but hello, this is a hot hatch, right? Thing number 2 is the fuel consumption, and this car, unfortunately, in the city will do at least 10 liters per 100 kilometers of petrol, and like in the Mini JCW, also here there is no stop and start system, so there isn't much you can do about this fuel consumption. And thirdly is the quality. At first everything looks money. However, I was driving rather fast over some bumps the other day, and well, this happened. Now, this is not a good sign for the future. So, is the GTI really back? Well, besides the problems I mentioned, out of which only disintegration of a new car is kinda unacceptable, the 208 GTI is a good contemporary hot hatch. It's fast, it's packed with multimedia, it's stylish and it's comfortable, like it came out of a Paris fashion house, not a factory in Poissy.